Hey, what's up you guys? It's Simon. Welcome back to my channel and happy Valentine's Day! So obviously, it's not Valentine's Day at the time that this is going up, but it is just around the corner, so I thought I would do a nice illustration for Patreon and for you guys to celebrate Valentine's Day and to color and have fun with. So if you want a chance to color on this line art, if you want a chance to fill it in or whatever it is you want to do with this line art, be sure to check out my Patreon. At $5 and up a month you get a free line art every single month, so that will be up on Patreon the day that this goes up. So yeah, I hope you like it. Obviously, I kept the illustration very simple because, like most people, you probably want to spend Valentine's Day with your significant other and not spend all day coloring a huge super detailed illustration, so I just wanted to keep things very simple but also sort of like represent a lot of different types of relationships. So I drew like a few busts to represent like hetero couples, LGBT, and polyamorous couples, so that you guys can hopefully change it and customize it to fit you or your relationship, or just have fun coloring in general. So, on to the topic of today's video. Today's topic was suggested by Ginger Bunny on Amino, so thank you for suggesting this. And today, we're going to be talking about how I film my videos. So, quick sidebar. Like I mentioned, I believe in the January line art video, I mentioned that usually these videos would have been saved for the SPTCT or the Speed Paint to Chill 2 videos, but because I felt like I wanted to do more focus on like the Patreon page this year and just putting more effort into showing you guys that sort of content and what goes up on there, I obviously wanted to do videos where I talk during these videos, and that is going to happen. Obviously, I'm doing that. However, I find myself getting stuck because I don't really talk about these illustrations that much. They're usually meant to be really simple so that you guys can put the character into them yourselves. So I usually am probably going to end up talking very briefly about the illustration, so that you guys can sort of do your own thing with it, but also that means that I need topics. So, like I said, this one was suggested by Ginger Bunny, but if you have anything that you want to see me talk about on the channel, be sure to leave it in the comments down below so that I can talk about that in a future video. So if you do leave a comment in advance, thank you very much. And now on to the topic of today's video. I still forget that I do bi-weekly uploads when I do these voiceovers. Anyways, getting into editing. So basically, the first thing I do is I usually have like 2 to 3 setups, usually around 2, so I'm going to break them up into digital and traditional. I'm going to start with digital since that's where things tend to be the easiest, but for those videos I tend to just use the screen recording function that's built into the device, whether that be on my computer or on my iPad. If you're using a computer, unless it's a Mac, I don't know anything about Mac, I'm very sorry, but if you're using a computer that has Windows on it and want to record a program, all you have to do is press the Windows key and G and then lie. So basically what I mean by that is once you press Windows and G, it will basically ask you if you're playing a video game or if you're recording a video game, and if you say yes, it will act as though the program that you're recording it in, for me it's usually Paint Tool Sci or like Sci2 or whatever, yeah, usually it will just act as if it's a video game and it will record the screen for that specific program. It won't record like if you click out and like go through YouTube and scroll all of that or anything. It will only record the program that you're actually using, and it will continue to do that until you tell it to stop, and once it stops it will export, and then it will save it as like some sort of video in a weird folder. So if you do use the Windows G option, I do recommend going to the Xbox settings. Again, this is if you have Windows, so go to the Xbox settings on your computer, and then you can change the file that once it exports to, you can make it save to like downloads, or you can make it save to videos or wherever you want to put it. I don't remember exactly how, but a quick Google search will tell you exactly how to fix it. I just remember it's in Xbox settings, and you can set it to virtually anything you want, and then they'll be a lot easier to find, because if you don't do that, good luck finding your screen recording. So yeah, so that's pretty much it for sci videos, unless you're like me and you got sick of the Windows G key being evil to you. I don't know if it was just because my desktop was very old, but eventually a few screen recordings were fine, but especially after my Q&A, I started noticing that I was losing a lot of footage, that it was randomly glitching out without telling me, that it just wasn't recording my screen at all, and all these other sorts of things, and it was starting to get on my nerves, especially once it got to the point where I wanted to start Twitch streaming. I was like, okay, how am I going to do this? And I found a program called OBS Studio, something that my brother had convinced me to screen record with for a very long time, and I kept saying no until I didn't have an option. So I used OBS Studio. It's another free program. It's very simple. It doesn't have any watermarks, and all you have to do is like a quick tutorial, and it will really help you figure out how to use the program, because it is a lot to look at first, but it will make sense relatively quickly. So yeah, you can also use OBS Studio, and it's really good. So that is it for desktop and or laptops. But if I'm using my iPad, at least on the iPad Pro, it's as simple as going to settings, and then somewhere in settings there will be an option to add screen recording to your drop down menu. That's in the same place as like your flashlight and your calculator and all that other stuff. You just pull down and there's your recording button. So yeah, basically I'll just get into Procreate or Medibang or whatever program I'm currently illustrating in for that day, and then I will press the record button, and it's as simple as just getting started. And once you're done, I do want to mention that I'm sure if you do record with your iPad and you didn't know this trick, you probably got really annoyed having to constantly swipe down and edit out that portion where you swipe down to stop recording. I have a trick for you. Turn off the screen. As soon as you push the power button, it will turn off your screen, and it will automatically save that recording to your photos. And you won't have to edit anything out, because it doesn't record, or it doesn't like record like the weird drop down, because you didn't do the drop down, you just turned your screen off. So it just looks like your recording ended, because it did, and it's great, and it's so much easier than having to record or delete a millisecond of footage. But a millisecond of footage that shows up in a video and makes it look very annoying. Another trick I have is, if you're anything like me, sometimes you forget that you have friends and they will send you messages on Discord or Messenger or on Instagram, and those notifications will pop up while you're doing a screen recording, and it can be very annoying to try and edit those out as well. So if you want to avoid that, be sure to remember to set your iPad or phone or whatever it is you're recording with to airplane mode, and then you won't have any notifications to worry about. So now that we're done with this sort of digital portion, I can get on to how I film things traditionally, and this is sort of where things get a little bit tricky. I'm kind of going to rush through it because I'm also going to put a photo of my setup just so that things make more sense. But basically, when I first started YouTube, I thought I had to have like one of those big old fancy like DSLR cameras. I bought one for $600 at Costco, and while in general it was a very nice camera, I found that sort of just trying to get you guys positioned and not have tripod legs in focus, or like figure out how I was going to film, because I do film top down so that there's no distortion on the illustration, and also my tripod wasn't tall enough to go and film top down from behind me, so I had to do it in front of me, and thus we had the tripod problem. But yeah, so basically I just got really annoyed trying to fiddle with my camera, and I sold it because I was like, this is so frustrating. I don't need this. I'm going to sell it, and I'm going to get a smaller camera, or I'm going to figure something out. So once I made the decision to sell my camera, I actually started recording with my cell phone, and after I did the first video with my cell phone, I realized my phone films videos in 4K. My Samsung, my Android, films in 4K. Why did I need a camera? I didn't know this about my phone, obviously. So I was very I was very happy about deciding to sell my camera, and I decided I would just start filming with my phone and figure out how to make things a little bit more convenient, because when I first started filming with my phone, I would stack like 15 to like 30 books on top of each other so that I could get you guys at a good enough height that I'd be able to film top down and not have a problem. This quickly got annoying, having to take all my books off my bookshelf every single time I wanted to film a video, until I got the idea. I was getting ready for a Twitch live stream, and it had been a while since I streamed. I didn't want to deal with OBS. I had just learned that I could stream from my cell phone, so I was like, wait, what's wrong with me? I have an empty Copic case because my husband built me a Copic case. I got too many markers for it to fit anymore, and thus I got a new Copic case, and I wanted to keep the old one because my husband made it for me, and I appreciate that. So I was like, why don't I just take that instead of taking like 15 books and stack that on top? And then I can put like a couple more books on there and film it like that. So basically, every single time I film, and this is where things get confusing, so this is where I'm going to insert a picture somewhere on screen. Every single time I film, I take that box. I take 3 specific books. It is the Hunger Games, Catching Fire, and Mockingbird, and then it is the Minecraft Blockopedia, because these are the heaviest and the sturdiest books that I own. So I will take all 3 of those books, I will stack them on top, and then I take my phone tripod. It's one with like adjustable bendy legs. I'll stick 2 in between Mockingbird or Catching Fire, whichever one's on top, it doesn't matter, and Blockopedia. That one has to be on top because it's the heaviest. So I'll sandwich 2 of the legs in between those, and then I will hook the bottom leg into one of the cubbies of the old Copic case. And then I just stick my phone in, and that's how I record. Every single time I record a video, I don't have fancy box lights, I don't have a fancy camera, I don't have a fancy tripod. I got my tripod from Amazon for $9. So, again, you don't need fancy stuff. You don't need to be a millionaire to start a YouTube channel. My phone records in 4K. It's my cell phone. I use it every day. It's not a fancy camera. It's my phone. Just use your phone. Until you're, like, if you really want to record with a really fancy camera, just use your phone until you can afford a camera. Don't be like me and assume I can't film a video until I have a $600 camera. Like a fool. I didn't even need it. So yeah, that's basically how I record, and then once all of my videos are recorded, whether they be digital or traditional, I will either email the files to myself or plug them by the USB, their charger usually, in the case of my phone or my iPad, and I will take the videos directly off of my phone or iPad and put them in my videos folder, where they will sit until they're ready to be edited. So after that, a lot of videos will tend to need a voiceover. Obviously there are a few on my channel that I don't have to use a voiceover for, but for the ones that do, I simply take my Blue Yeti Nano, I will plug that one in. I also take a pair of headphones because I like to block out all of the noise that's around me and sort of just listen to what you guys listen to when you hear my voiceovers, so that I can sort of calm myself down, number one, and also just sort of like chill and make sure that everything sounds like as good as it possibly can. So I have a set of SteelSeries headphones. You do not need them. They were like $200 and I bought them because they lit up rainbow, and it was very nice. They distracted me. They pulled me in because they were rainbow and I had to get them. But you don't have to get them. You can use $4 earbuds if you want to. That's just what I convinced myself I totally super needed when I first started streaming. So yeah, but I basically just plug my mic in and then go to Audacity. I don't edit any of my audio clips in Audacity because I don't know how. And also because I don't tend to edit my voiceovers at all. When I first started, I would edit out every little noise that I made, whether that was me swallowing or breathing or sniffling or anything, and now I just sort of try my best to do one-shot recordings, which is very difficult. I do have to start over a lot, and you probably will too if this is the sort of route that you're intending to take. But for the most part, like, just do your best to do one-shot voiceovers because they sound a lot more natural, in my opinion. You don't have to do this, but because this video is about what I do, I'm going to tell you guys why I do it. Basically, I try my best not to edit anything out at this point now because number one, it saves a lot of time and I can spend more time practicing making my art better rather than filming out every single swallow, every single cough in my videos. And number two, it just sounds more natural. It sounds more like I'm sitting down and talking to you guys and like just really like building a community rather than sounding like a robot word vomiting information at you basically. So I just wanted to sound a little bit more relaxing and comfortable and friendly and nice. So yeah, I try not to edit my voiceovers at all. If I do make a terrible mess up, I do try to make a mental note of where that is and what I said when I messed up so that I can find it when I'm editing in my video editing program. But for the most part, other than that, I tend not to edit any mistakes out. Also, if it's really bad, I'll just start over. But that's about it. So now for actual video editing, I use a very luxurious program called VSDC Free Video Editor. It's just a free video editor. I googled free video editor a year ago and that's what I found. So it doesn't have any like fancy like bells and whistles like programs like Adobe After Effects or their equivalents will have, but it gets the job done for what I needed it to do. I really just need to drag the files in, speed them up, add the occasional text overlay and image, and that's about it. I try to keep my editing as simple as possible so there's more focus on the art. But like I said in one of my earlier videos this month, if you guys want to see me try anything on the channel as far as editing goes, leave me a comment in the description for things that you'd like to see me try, and I will see what I can do because I want you guys to have as much fun watching these videos as I do making them. But that is about it for this week's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys liked the illustration. If you again do want to color this illustration, be sure to go check it out on Patreon again for $5 a month or more. You can get cool stuff like this. If you're not interested in the line art but still want to help support me, you can pledge $1 a month and get your name at the end of these videos and tiled wallpapers and other stuff like that. So be sure to check that out, and if you do, I greatly appreciate it. So thank you guys so much, and I do want to give a big shout out to my patron Elise Thompson. Thank you so much for continuing to support me and everything that I do. You are the best. I love you guys, and I will see you guys next Thursday. Bye.